Fina. Girl, give me some of that Fina. Turn around, shake that Fina. Go on and pop that Fina. For you know it's that damn good. Alright, man, let's go ahead and get to some CJAX videos. Alright, I'm gonna have to start making that as my intro every time I do a reaction video of CJAX. So we're gonna go ahead and get started because this is about Triple H and his booking. So we talked about it on my other video, but we need to talk about it in this video because I think it's important for us to listen. So we're gonna let the man speak.
Triple H is an absolute fraud who gets away with booking horrible segments, booking horrible matches, and just bad booking in general, and gets glazed by the fans for it. It's time that we call it out. We have to actually discuss this straight up. Triple H is a liar. He manipulates. He books poorly. He makes bad decisions. And yes, he's made good decisions here and there over the last 2 years that he's been in charge. Don't get me wrong. He's had a couple good stories and a couple good, great matches, I'm saying, some great PLEs. But the fact is that in large part over the last year or so, the last 12, 13 months, he has booked atrociously. And we have to understand these things. And don't worry, we are also going to address something I talked about a couple months ago with Triple H saying, I can't see color, I'm the game, I booked the real talent. But then a guy like Montez Ford sits down and gets nothing for 5 years, while Gunther gets multiple championship reigns and hasn't done anything to deserve those championship reigns. Don't worry, we're going to get into that later in this video because this guy is a liar from top to bottom. I don't understand this logic now, right? Where, like John Cena said, this is just the truth. Someone mediocre who has control over something meaningful is enough to fool people into believing in their garbage. That is the truth. It's what Cody does with the WWE Championship. He is a mediocre and a bad champion who's had a bad reign and has nothing to speak of on the mic. He doesn't really have that many great matches because he only has 7 title defenses in 400 days. So what, after 350 days, whatever it is, so who cares at this point? The let Papa H cook garbage is done. It gives the fans an excuse for bad content and being like, oh, well, it's okay because he'll start cooking. Triple H will start cooking, man. It's going to get great. Nobody cares. When is it going to get great? We're waiting for it. This Mania season is one of the worst of all time. And this should actually prove to you guys that when Triple H comes out, he puffs his shoulders up. His shoulders are all the way up to his ears with his mic in his hand talking about I'm the gamer, Fina, the new era. Shut up.
What is this? This nigga when I say probably with a bitch or two if I'm delivering a square. How we get into a scuffle, got my knife. That's how he said it.
Did you ever have to see Vince McMahon coming out at the beginning of shows or at the end of shows or doing these post-show interviews talking about how great business is in this new era in the Renaissance? Did Vince ever do a post-PLE thing where he's talking about, man, we're in the Attitude Era, guys? Huh? You're fired. After the Ruthless Aggression Era, he's like, man, guys, we're in the Ruthless Aggression Era. No one did that because no matter how successful WWE was, because again, viewership-wise and mainstream appeal-wise, it was much successful back in Vince's days than it is now. And somehow, we're supposed to believe in this new era, this garbage? It's short-term trash and long-term garbage. That is what Triple H is booking. And for some reason, because of last year, Mania 40, yes, it was awesome. The bill was great. But it was large part because of people like The Rock, most importantly, and guys like Roman Reigns. The 4-year championship reign built Mania to this point. He's been the driving force of all the last 3 or 4 Manias now. Take Roman Reigns out of the last 4 Manias. What do you have? Daniel Bryan versus Edge for the Universal title at Mania 37? Huh? Brock Lesnar versus who? Seth Rollins? For again? Mania 39, what is it? Cody versus LA Knight? Or Cody versus Gunther? Gunther versus Sami Zayn? This is a joke. You understand that? Roman Reigns and Rock made this dude look amazing. Triple H still was doing good things here and there, but what made it look amazing and what gave it the hype and the appeal at Mania 40 season last year was The Rock and Roman Reigns. That's why you have no all-time great stars anymore or draws besides Roman Reigns. Your highest viewed segments are always involving the Roman. Or when Rock was there last year, it was involving Rock and Roman. When Roman showed up at the beginning, when when USA had SmackDown, you're getting 1.8, 1.7, 1.9. Now look, you can't get 1.4 consistently. In terms of viewership, you can barely get 1.4 million on SmackDown consistently. No one else has any mainstream appeal. And that's why Triple H is his responsibility to build up those stars, to give them that mainstream appeal, and to make them awesome, make them great like Roman has become great. But you can't do that because Triple H has no idea what he's doing. And we have to discuss, first of all, this Mania build is horrible. The fact that last year, Mania 40 was incredible. You understand? It was awesome. I loved Mania 40. But now you get to this year, and the same exact people are competing that were there last year, along with you now have Punk and Cena added into the mix, and you still are making a bad WrestleMania. This is all you need to know. This Mania season could have been completely different. Triple H is allegedly the long gamer, the long-term booker. I'm the long gamer. I'm the long gamer, Cena. Shut up, How about that?
Hey.
Hey, fool, that's so disrespectful, bro.
And on a side note, do you know how much ego you have to have? You know how egotistical, how pompous, how ego-driven you have to be to induct yourself into the Hall of Fame and pretend like Undertaker and Shawn Michaels are the ones who inducted you? Get out of my face with that garbage. This is absolutely ridiculous. This dude's an egomaniac just doing nonsense. Oh, I'm going to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, you put yourself in because your ego is huge.
Hey, come on now. I mean, he do deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he should have been in the Hall of Fame 2 years ago, but, I mean, him being in the Hall of Fame, hey, I ain't mad at that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know if he put himself in there, but I do believe that Triple H, should be in the Hall of Fame along with Michelle McCool and who, and Lex Luger, I think that's his name. But, yeah, I mean, Triple H being in the Hall of Fame, that's big. That's big. So I definitely want to see that. You know what I mean? I mean, there's no reason why we should hate on that. You get what I mean? So, him being in the Hall of Fame, I ain't mad at that at all. So, I mean, he should have been in there 2 years ago, but I think it's time. I think it's time. So, him being in it, I want to see that. So, rightfully earned. Rightfully earned.
Come on, he comes out here talking all this nonsense about how Mania 41, after Mania 40 last year, Triple H was already saying that Mania 41 was going to be the biggest and best WrestleMania ever. It was going to top Mania 40. Well, does it look like that yet? And Triple H has the audacity, the ego on this guy after Elimination Chamber to go in the press interview and say, does it feel like Mania season now, huh? Thinking he's got over. He's like, yeah, you fans were talking online. Now look at you. Yeah, look at you. Look at you now. Mama Rose. Now look at you. So first off, we need to discuss this about WrestleMania, okay? Triple H obviously booked this Mania into a hole where now it sucks no matter what's going to happen. Last night, Roman Reigns, Seth, and Punk's feud has officially been buried and killed. CM Punk is now going to have Paul Heyman in his corner at WrestleMania. What does this provide? You waited 5 months, another elongated story to a terrible finish, that the payoff, let's just say that Seth Rollins wins the triple threat, or Roman wins it. Then what's the significance of Paul Heyman being in Punk's corner? Thank you. There's no significance at all. This makes no sense. Nobody cares. So what? You helped out in War Games. All you did was 2 or 3 moves and you came in second to last. All you got to do is you could have gotten anyone to go do what Punk did at War Games. So I just don't understand this stuff, okay? The truth is, this Mania 41 card should have been stacked. You could have had Roman versus Gunther for the world title, or Punk versus Gunther for the world title. So he finally gets his world championship main event quasi match at Mania, maybe. Or Roman Reigns versus Seth then in a last man standing match or an I Quit match to close out that feud. Or you could have Seth versus Braun Breaker even now, just done Roman versus Punk. Or you could have Jay and Jimmy reunite and face the Street Profits. Heel Randy Orton versus Braun Breaker versus Logan Paul, triple threat maybe. Or heel Orton, you know what I'm saying? Versus AJ Styles, anything like that. Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany, which by the way, that segment last night was very weird, awkward, and incredibly cringe, and I'm not exactly sure what the heck that was. Very weird stuff. I don't know. That is just an awkward promo. They both looked like they have no idea what they're doing on the mic, and it went off script too, that segment last night, but I expected it because it's just very weird, very dumb that segment was. I don't even understand what was happening. Just a bunch of awkward pauses and weird dialogue thrown at each other, and they went completely off script, and they weren't even trying to entertain us. They were just trying to just one-up each other. It was just very stupid. Anyways, then you could have had Rhea Ripley versus Bianca, which is the biggest possible match in the women's division. You could have done that. Io Sky versus Lyra Valkyria for the women's Intercontinental Championship. Or you could have brought back Becky Lynch and had her fight Lyra Valkyria or fight Io for the Intercontinental title.
No, I don't want Becky Lynch going after that title. No way and no how.
LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu versus Carmelo Hayes, or LA Knight versus Carmelo Hayes, or if Jacob Fatu versus Solo, something. Solo's the tribal chief for over a year, and then he gets paid off with not even being on the Mania card. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jacob Fatu's obviously better at his job, but still, you know, the New Day way, the New Day day, the New Day day. Their theme song stinks, but they should be winning tag team gold at this WrestleMania, and they're probably going to now because they only have 6 matches. You know, this is the thing. Why do we only have 6 or 7 confirmed matches and we're 14 days from Mania? Does anyone have an answer to those questions? I'm just curious, because if this is a long game, everything's figured out, well, that alone proves that it's not figured out. Because it's just the truth, you know? You could have had Rhea versus Bianca, like I said. You could have also had Liv Morgan versus Alexa Bliss.
You hear that? Facts.
After the year that Liv Morgan just had, she doesn't get anything. She's going to get a meaningless tag team women's championship match at Mania that no one's going to remember nor care about. You could have had her versus Alexa Bliss for the women's IC belt or something like that.
I don't know about the IC belt. I still want Raquel to take that title, but again, I mean, Liv Morgan should not be going after the mid-card title. She should be going after the Women's World title again, or the WWE Women's Championship, you know. So hopefully after Dom, she will go after that, you know, but she has to get away from the Judgment Day in order for that to happen, or get away from Dominic Mysterio and Raquel in order for that to happen. So, you know, I don't know, well, you know, but no, not for no IC belt. Come on now, don't do that. Let Alexa Bliss take that, you know. And if she want to take that because you ain't got nothing planned for her in the women's division, that would be messed up, because I think people would rather see Liv Morgan as women's world champion just because she did kind of bring some promo to that belt. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of interviews, a lot of football games, a lot of news reports, a lot of TV shows. She did bring attention to that belt and, you know, the women's world title. And for her to just not get that again, it's just ridiculous to me. So I say bring her back, but she got to get away from Dom and Raquel in order for that to happen. So, but Alexa Bliss versus Liv in an IC match, nah. I'd rather see Lyra versus Bayley and Roxanne. I would rather for Roxanne to win that belt, you know. But right now Roxanne ain't getting used, so I don't know how that would work. But nah.
You know, or Liv and Raquel versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross.
Nothing but facts.
And then you could have just added 2 or 3 more filler matches, maybe one for the women's U.S. belt or something else. But we got none of that. We got a garbage card with Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. Are you kidding me? And all these other trash matches. And the proof that Triple H sucks is in the pudding, right? That we've seen that every single superstar and storyline inside of this Mania has been demoted. And the storylines are uncreative and boring. It's brawl segment after brawl segment after brawl segment. How can you promise to us that we're going to get an amazing Mania? It's going to be the biggest one ever. The biggest Mania ever. It's going to be bigger and better than Mania 40. And then we get here and it sucks. How's that possible? I just don't understand this stuff anymore. You know, Roman Reigns. Let's go down the list. Because sit here, you know, get your popcorn ready and get your waters out, you know, your drinks out, your libations out, because I respect you. I love you. I need you. I appreciate you. And we're going to run down this list of all these big superstars in these, quote-unquote, big superstars in these matches, you know, in this build for Mania, that have been absolutely demoted. Okay, here's your main superstars first. Roman Reigns. 4-year championship reign comes to an end at Mania 40 last year. You would think that the person who did this would have a natural progression of still doing something absolutely awesome and epic and engaging with an amazing build leading into the following Mania. But instead, Roman Reigns was left knocked out last night, 2 weeks from Mania, and his wise man is now going to go side with CM Punk at WrestleMania. Remember, CM Punk has won no matches of meaning since he's come back to WWE. All he's done is beat Drew McIntyre twice, that's it.
No, he also beat Seth Rollins on January the 6th. You forgot about that.
That's the only notable things that he's done since coming back. That's it. He still cuts good promos here and there, but this feud with him and Rollins and Punk is a joke. It's a joke. Roman Rollins and Punk is a failure at this point. There's nothing engaging happening on the mic. It's all predictable. There's no cutthroat feuds and promos like you had with Cena and Cody the other night. That was actually like a really good promo segment that kind of got you a tad bit more excited for the match. You don't even have that with Roman and Rollins and Punk, and we're 2 weeks out. How? They're all demoted. Seth Rollins was a world champion last year, and now he's wrestling a meaningless triple threat match for nothing. And the fact is, Seth Rollins feels like a third fiddle in a feud that he started with CM Punk. This is a booking disaster. You might as well have just thrown Seth Rollins against Braun Breaker to elevate Braun Breaker and have Braun get over versus a top star in the industry. Just do that.
Shoot, I wouldn't mind a Seth Rollins and a Braun Breaker feud. I think that would be pretty dope, you know. Maybe when you lose the Intercontinental title, maybe, you know, they will start something like that, but I don't know.
Why are we doing this? Seth Rollins never has any direction for Mania. He's always thrown into a random feud. He's fighting Logan Paul. He's fighting Cesaro. He's fighting KO. What is this guy doing anymore? John Cena. We look what John Cena's track record is, and now look at him. Look at him. 2 weeks of random mediocre promos bashing the fans. Then he follows it up with an amazing promo on Monday Night Raw, and now we're not going to see him until Mania, and he was left knocked out by a crossroads. Really? This is the best version. This is one of the worst versions of John Cena we've ever seen. And he's also washed up in the ring to an extent. And then he's fighting Stardust. That's it. It's just a joke. Cody Rhodes has done nothing in this Mania build. You know, he had a couple lines on Raw, but what is he talking about? He's talking about John Cena's junk in shorts. And he brings up Vince McMahon, low-hanging fruit. And then he brings up Zac Efron and this other nonsense. I'm like, what are you saying anymore? John Cena buries you in 6 minutes on the mic, and then you respond with that? That's the best you got? At least he fought back. For Dr. Libations, that was a solid promo for him. But in general, that's not good. If Cena was in the ring with Roman or anyone else, they actually would have probably fought back even harder than Cody did by a mile. Imagine if that was Punk in there instead of Cody, or Roman in there, or Rollins in there. And then you got LA Knight. LA Knight has been over now for 2 years, doing all this great stuff, and you have to look at it now. All he is a U.S. champion. That's all he is. 2 years of being super over, and he's just a U.S. champion. Meanwhile, Jey Uso, the Yeet Man, the Yeet Master, gets to show up after wrestling mid-matches, not doing anything significant on the mic or in his storytelling, and he gets to show up and get a world title shot versus Gunther, who was coming off a great IC title reign, and now he's coming off a terrible world championship reign, and he's probably going to lose it at Mania. Just like LA Knight, who never should have lost the belt in the first place, is now lost it to Shinsuke, and now he's going to probably lose it to Jacob Fatu at Mania. You have Drew McIntyre. I can't stop thinking about Punk. Now look at him. Damian Priest in a feud. Really? Charlotte Flair wasn't even on the card last year because of her injury. Now she's back doing awkward, weird, bad feuds with Tiffany Stratton. Rhea, Bianca, and Io has become an absolute mess. The contract signing has no significance. The Elimination Chamber victory has no significance. The crowd is for some reason still having Rhea Ripley over when she's wrestled 5 Raw matches in 400 days and has done nothing good on the mic in years, if at all. But she's somehow still in this main event position for no reason. She's in main event level feuds and main event level matches for nothing. And then Liv Morgan, not even really on the card. Having a women's tag team championship match at Mania, you're essentially not on the card. Like, newsflash, let's be real. And all of this happens because Triple H's booking and him having zero direction with the storylines or the characters makes it so that everyone who made last year's Mania great are the same people who are involved in this Mania season, and it still sucks. This Mania season is failing to even be average. It is the most hyped time of the year. It's supposed to be the most exciting, biggest time of the year, and you're struggling to pull 3 million viewers globally when you used to get 3 times that in America alone. This is embarrassing at this point. How is this possible? Well, it's possible because Triple H sucks at his job. I understand he's done good PLEs, but over the last year, he's done nothing but absolute garbage. And it's time to be acknowledged. No pun intended, of course, but it has to be said. This is not good. And the fact that we're in this position is all because of Triple H's booking. He has no idea how to decipher what true talent is versus talent that he's pushing at the top of the company. You understand? So Carmelo Hayes will sit there and have amazing matches, go toe-to-toe with the WWE champion on SmackDown in solid matches last year. He'll have a couple good backstage segments, a couple fun promos, and a good entrance, obviously. He's super athletic and good at selling, good in the ring, has a nice moveset, and all he'll get relegated to is losing to Andrade 3 times and then becoming the Miz's sidekick. That's all you got for Carmelo Hayes. After everything he did, arguably being one of the best parts of SmackDown in 2024 by a landslide, and that's just what he gets. Not even on the Mania card, nothing. Just the Miz's sidekick getting, bashed on the segment and the backstage segment with Pretty Deadly in the Miz. That's all he's got. And Triple H has other people like Braun Breaker, peak athleticism, solid on the mic, good in the ring, all that stuff. Except for his entrance being absolute garbage, of course. And we don't even know if he's a face or a heel. He just goes out and barks at people and spears them and moves on. That's all he does. And even then, Braun Breaker wrestles once every 6 or 7 weeks usually. He's had 2 bad Intercontinental Championship reigns that have basically led to absolutely nothing so far. And now he's going to be thrown in a random, thrown together fatal 4-way probably between Penta and 2 jobbers from Judgment Day with Dom Mysterio and Finn Balor. Really?
Which I will keep an eye on that match, by the way.
That's the best you got for your talent? Tiffany Stratton, her WWE Women's Championship reign has been atrocious. It's been garbage, and she has no idea what she's doing on the mic. She's just taking personal shots out there on the mic and going off script. Who the heck is Tiffany Stratton, who's been on the main roster for a year? Who the heck is she to openly disrespect Charlotte Flair like that in the ring? What is this? If that was Vince McMahon back there, Tiffany Stratton probably would have been fired after last night's show. She probably would have been gotten a stern talking to, and just because of that alone, she would have been confirmed to lose the belt in 2 weeks at Mania to Charlotte. Let's be real, because stuff like this didn't fly. Talent doesn't get away with just doing the bare minimum and doing garbage segments and garbage matches, and then gets nothing, just gets, rewarded for it. In WWE now, you fail upwards. That's what it is. You can do bad promos and bad segments and not be consistent at all, and not grow or develop your character, your in-ring performance, or your mic skills at all, and you'll be going upwards. Cody Rhodes is a mediocre storyteller, a bad promo worker at times, and sometimes average. And then in the ring, he's like solid or good. And even that's all he has, and then he has a good entrance, and that's all it is. Now he gets the WWE Championship for 400 days. Woo! Congratulations, adrenaline! Really? All it takes is a Jey Uso, a catchy entrance, he's got the yeet, and now he's winning world championships. That's it. You don't have to do anything good anymore to get over. And that's why these fans are working coincide with Triple H, who bends the knee to the fans, the bots, the goons, who to put these people over and put them in these positions. And the last thing we need to discuss is the blatant frauds, the fraudulent lies, the manipulating of fans. The long-term conditioning and the long-term brainwashing that Triple H has gotten away with is insane to me. The fact that he can throw out the same matches, the same segments, the same promos. Rhea Ripley can come out there for a year straight and say, I'm going to take back my title. I never lost. Yeah. Drew McIntyre can come out and say, I can't stop thinking about Punk. Cody Rhodes comes out every promo. I respect you. I love you. I need you. And then you have everyone else coming out saying the same things for a year now, and they're all going to get big-time Mania matches, and the fans are eating it up as if these talent has given them something over the last year. They've given us nothing. Nothing to speak of, and they're getting treated as if they're legends. I saw people saying Cody Rhodes is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm like, are you insane? Are you out of your mind? Well, is Jack Swagger a first ballot Hall of Famer? He won a world title. Come on, man. Get real with yourself. The lies about the business. Business is the best it's ever been, allegedly. But like I've mentioned, you used to get 8 to 9 million views in America alone, and now you can barely get 3 million globally. But somehow we're supposed to believe business is booming, allegedly. Business is the best it's ever been. The ticket sales. You haven't been getting as many sellouts as you did last year, okay, by this point in the year, all right? You don't have the same amount of viewership as I already discussed, okay? And you also have to factor in that business, the only reason that you're making any money is because of a bunch of ads and sponsorships and overblown, advertisements for random celebrities and for Netflix and for these, these companies, Snickers and M&Ms and, the Minecraft movie. They're just reaching for anything. So yes, sponsorships and stuff is giving you money, but your product is not going up with the money. You're charging tens of thousands of dollars for tickets to get tens and thousands of minutes of garbage. So what are we getting here? I just don't understand where the trade-off is. The people who are spending thousands of dollars to go to Mania, I know a couple people going to Mania, and this is not a joke. This is embarrassing. People who I know are spending money to go to this year's Mania are already upset that they don't feel like they're getting what they're paying for.
I'll tell you what's worth the money. This match right here. AEW. Tony versus Megan. Make you say yay. Now that's worth the money over there. They worth the money. But WrestleMania 41, nah, they ain't worth the money. Get your money back. Refund, please. We need that money for bills.
The builds suck, the matches aren't interesting, and there's only 7 announced matches and we're 2 weeks out. What are you even paying for? Refund your ticket and go watch at home. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, that's what I just said. And you know what you need to do, though? Use some of that money and get you a ticket to watch Stand and Deliver. Because I know y'all want to see this triple threat match right here. Because we got to reveal who is the leader of the Dark State. We got to know who's the leader. We got to figure it out. We know it's not Oba Femi, but it's either Javon, Trick, or Stax. And if you don't know who Stax is, he's one of the members of the D'Angelo family. So we got to figure it out, man. Got to figure it out. But that's worth a ticket right there. That's worth a ticket.
And then we have the talent inclusion. We've already discussed this before. Triple H does not include the right, correct talent that you need to succeed. Carmelo Hayes is a clear example of that. LA Knight getting, super over and getting absolutely nothing to do is a clear example of that. Gunther finally getting a world title. Not saying Gunther's super talented, but, he's at least better than what they've been giving him for the last 6-7 months he's been champ. Come on. Jey Uso is just, what even is this? What even is this anymore? The Street Profits, they've been amazing. Amazing over the last 4 years. And the first time they've won a belt in over 4 or 5 years was what? 3 weeks ago? This is a disaster, and I'm tired of all the excuses. Oh, well, Triple H can't see color. You know, Triple H says, oh, I can't see color. I don't see color. I'm a good booker. I'm fair and balanced. You're nothing. You're nothing. You're not doing anything. And I'm sick of hearing about this stuff. You don't see color. You know, the black talent, the Latino talent, none of these people get anything. They get nothing to do. Nothing. You mean to tell me that Gunther is more talented than Carmelo Hayes? Gunther is more talented than Montez Ford? Is Gunther? This is the thing. I don't understand this. This is what makes no sense to me, okay? You look at the roster of champions, and you really look at it for yourself. You need to explain to me, how is it possible that Naomi, Jade Cargill, and Bianca have paraded around for the last year or so with absolutely nothing to show for it but some tag belts? Really? Really? Carmelo Hayes has paraded around with nothing to show for it. The Street Profits, nothing to show for it for 5 years. This is embarrassing. How is this even possible? You know, you just look at it. All the Mexican wrestlers, they all get lumped together with the LWO or Legado del Fantasma. They do nothing. They just get shoved in with a bunch of other people that happen to be of the same race. That's it. It's not a happen to be of the same race. It's forced by Triple H. That's what it is. We have to start looking at these things objectively. All the Asian wrestlers and the Chinese wrestlers go out there, and Triple H has them going on the mic, and then while they're out there on the mic, Adam Pearce is literally laughing at Io as she's cutting a promo a couple weeks ago, because Io was just forced to go out there. You know her English isn't that great, just like Shinsuke's English isn't that great, you know, others like Asuka, whatever, and you have them just go out there and just start yelling and looking like fools in front of the audience. How? Well, this is the type of stuff that Triple H does subtly, and no one talks about it. But this is embarrassing, and it's disrespectful to some of the talent. And it's just as simple as that. You know, you're saying, oh, I don't see color. Well, even if you don't see color, anyone knows that Carmelo Hayes is talented enough to at least get a U.S. championship before someone like, you know, like, what's his name? Like Logan Paul. Yeah, Logan Paul's a way bigger star, but he only defended the belt 2 times in 300 days. You know, Gunther gets a world championship reign. Montez Ford gets nothing of significance for 5 years. Gunther's that much better than what's his name? Than Montez Ford, to the point where Montez Ford gets nothing for 5 years, while Gunther gets a world title reign and he gets a 2-year Intercontinental Championship reign. But Montez Ford can't get a U.S. title. Shinsuke Nakamura gets a U.S. title and you do nothing with it. He has 2 matches in 3 or 4 months, and the one title defense he has, he loses it. What was the point?
Yeah, man. And you had Raquel come back at Bad Blood, knowing damn well she could have came back at the Royal Rumble. And you got her looking like a jobber, and everybody on social media roasting her. You're not making this any easier, Hunter. You know what I mean? Like, this is why everybody fuck with Shawn Michaels, because he knows how to book people. I mean, Obafemi is champion, and Stephanie is champion, and you know, when Julia was around, she was champion. You know what I mean? Everybody is getting some type of title shot except Laura Weiss and Nikia Lyon, but Nikia Lyon is white. So, but the problem is she's white and ratchet, respectfully. So, and that's the reason why she's not getting no push. She's not getting bookings, and it's like, you know, all that twerking is cool, but when it's time to wrestle, it's time to wrestle. At least, you know, Laura Weiss is getting, at least had a title opportunity, but never won it. You get what I mean? And hopefully she'll get one against Stephanie. But yeah, Hunter, like I said, I just think maybe you should get somebody to take your place for bookings and creativity while you just focus on the promos and the marketing. You know what I mean? Because you can still have your position, but when it comes to bookings and creativity, you need to let the professionals get that. And I'm not calling you a professional, but I'm just saying we got to get something has to change. Otherwise, this ain't going to work. People should not be holding AEW when AEW is doing everything that WWE should be doing. You know, you saying that AEW sucks, but every time I watch AEW, I'm entertained because I see flexibility, I see entertainment, I see I see title change. You know, at least not with John Moxley yet, but at least I see it. You know, and Mercedes too. But still, you know, everybody's getting the opportunity over there versus in WWE. The only time they get an opportunity is when they're in NXT. That's it. So it's just like, I don't know how long y'all gonna keep this up because, again, I'm not watching WrestleMania until I see Alexa Bliss. Until I see Alexa Bliss, this ain't going nowhere. And even if Finn and Liv betray Dom, you know, what am I supposed to say? I warned y'all about that, and now y'all want to say something? Say, oh, it don't make sense. Oh, why Finn? Why? Oh, why Liv? Why? Man, I don't want to talk about that shit. All I know is that Triple H is doing a poor job as a bookkeeper. Well, I won't say poor, but he's doing a mid job as playing as a bookkeeper, and everybody online agrees with me. You know, you should have seen the comment section. People were literally going in. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and we'll talk at the end.
The talent is not included. We just had the first, I'm going to end on this. We just had the first ever singles match at WrestleMania between two women to not be for a championship has been officially announced yesterday between Jade and Naomi. That's the first time that's ever happened. Ever. That says a lot about Vince in certain aspects, and it says a lot about Triple H. But the thing is that Vince never went out in front and was like, yeah, I'm advocating for talent. You know, I don't see color. Blah, 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 blah. Triple H is coming out here advocating for talent and saying all this nonsense, but everything he's doing is contradictory. And that is why we get bad, repetitive, monotonous garbage shows over and over again, and one of the worst Mania builds of all time, built on lies, bad booking, manipulating of fans, and lies and fraudulence. That is what this Mania build is, and that is what the last year of Triple H has been, an absolute and utter mediocrity fest of garbage and failures and fraudulence. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Have a beautiful day. Have a marvelous day. And with that being said, I don't know what I'm doing at this point. Thank you guys so much for watching. And with that being said, have a phenomenal day. Peace out and uno love. One love. Love, love, love. I respect you. I love you. I appreciate you. Yeet. That outro is one of the most nonsensical outros ever, but you get the point. I appreciate you guys. Have a phenomenal day. Thanks for watching. One love.
Yeah, so look at the comment box, man, and feel free to pause if you want to. But yeah, everybody's pretty much agree. I mean, this bookings is just looking bad, man. And that's why, you know, I just think that Hunter should just have somebody take his place. And, you know, just, you know, he could still do promos, but just like have somebody do the bookings, you know, do the matches, you know, write the storylines, because this ain't it, bro. This ain't it. So I don't know what I don't know what WrestleMania is gonna do, man. I don't know what's gonna happen. All I know is that, you know, Monday is around the corner, and when this drop, it's gonna drop on a Monday morning. So be a lookout on that. But we just gotta wait till Monday night Raw. Let us know what's gonna go down. So we got this week and we got next week. So I do want to keep an eye on that Fatal 4-Way match. So I'm willing to watch that, but as for everything else, I'm like, no, I'm not watching it. So I'm watching Stand and Deliver, and that's it. Every other, I'm not doing. So catch me live, watching that. I don't know if G-Man's going to hop on, but if he do, I'll let y'all know. But I know for sure I'm watching Stand and Deliver. No, I'm taking a day off. I am watching it. I know it starts at 1, but I'm watching it, okay? I'm watching it. So y'all can watch it with me. Otherwise, that's the only pay-per-view I'm watching. Every other pay-per-view, I'm like, nope, I'm good. So if y'all want to watch Stand and Deliver with me, you can Saturday at April 19th at 1 p.m. on Peacock. If y'all want to watch it with me, I will go live that day. But every other, nah, I'm good. So, no Alexa Bliss, no watching for me, no streaming for me. So, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. And y'all can comment down below and let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think Triple H is a fraud, or do you think that, you know, he's just doing the best he can? I don't know. Y'all comment down below, let me know. But like I said, without Alexa Bliss, it ain't worth watching. Straight up and down. And as for the tag team match for Liv Morgan and Raquel, I could give two fucks about that. Because I know Lyra and Bailey gonna win that. Otherwise, it's probably gonna be Maxine and Natalia, which I don't recommend because they haven't been booked, they haven't wrestled, and if they win that match, they're gonna end up losing anyway. So what's the point of watching it? So y'all talk about it in the comment box. I'm out.